how's it going? Good morning. So I'm out behind our gazebo right now working on a quick container project. I started this project a couple of days ago, but I had to abandon it because Benjamin woke up from his nap. So I'm out here to tackle it again this morning. So let me show you what I got going. So there's the back side of the gazebo. This is the area where the pond was that we had removed. And these are the containers I am working on. So you can see I just kind of left everything out that I had going the other day. So the thing about this area is that this hawthorn tree right here, you can't, I don't think you can tell in this view right here, but it's got blight really bad. And blight is one of those things that you can spray for and control, but I've been trying to get on top of it for the last couple of years and I just am not getting anywhere. It just keeps on spreading. And that's something I really don't want to have in my landscape. I don't want to have fussy stuff that I have to constantly remember to spray. I don't want to be spraying stuff anyway if I can help it. So if we decide to get rid of this tree, it's going to change the dynamic of this whole area. And I don't really want to do anything in terms of long-term planting, just because if we get rid of the tree, all of a sudden this whole area is going to be full sun. And right now there's a lot of shade, you know, of course, right under the tree. So containers are kind of a good way to fill up a little bit of space anyway, to kind of distract my eye from this huge gaping hole in the landscape. So right across the sidewalk is the little area that I planted up for you guys before. I've already cut the seed back because it was a little bit leggy when I planted it. There's Russell. Hey buddy. Hi kitty. You're a good boy. Hey. So the first thing I need to do is run drip to the containers, which you can see I got this far the other day. So I just have it running up through one of the drain holes, and then I just leave a little bit of a length here so that I have something to work with. And then it just comes out the bottom. You can see it right here, and then here's my big like spool of it. The problem with this spot here, I actually thought this boxwood was dead and realized it's not quite dead yet, but I can't find that there's any irrigation run to it. It used to be run or watered by a sprinkler that was over here that we capped so that we could run drip. So I'm thinking that I just didn't know that. Anyway, the drip that we have, you can see it's running right here. So I'm gonna tap in to that brown drip tubing with just a little piece of 1/2 inch poly. And I'm gonna put a T in, I'm gonna run it over into the middle of these containers. And then from there, I'll spider off and run individual emitter to that boxwood and then run all my drip into the container. So that's what I'll do first. So there's my T right there. I'm gonna go ahead and push it into the poly first, just like that. Then I'll make my cut, which I don't have my clippers out here. I don't know where they're at. And then I'll just attach the T into this brown tubing. There we go. Easy peasy. So the next step, I think I'm gonna run this poly right behind that container, and I'm gonna cut it and put an end on it, this is what it looks like right here. And then I'll tap into this line to run all my individual 1/4 inch tubing to all my pots and the boxwood. Okay, so you can see the 1/4 inch coming out of the bottom of this pot. So we'll attach this one first. So I'm just gonna make a cut here. And then I'm gonna use just a straight coupler. And then I'm gonna use my punch tool to make a little hole in this poly tubing so that I can put the coupler inside there. There we go. So that's all there is to that. So let me get the other ones run. So there we go. You can see all of the drip tubing coming up through the bottom of the pot. So in the end, I'm gonna mulch around here, and so it'll cover that tubing that's on the ground, so you won't even see any of the tubing at all in the end. So when you're setting up your containers and anything on drip, you have to consider how long you're running your zones for. Since I tapped into our flower bed drip for this, I have to know that like in the heat of summer, we actually run our drips for an hour every single day. So for the boxwood, I put a 1 gallon per hour emitter, so it's going to be getting 1 gallon of water per day. That's something I can change. It's needing it right now. It's needing that little bit of extra water. So in the future, once I get it kind of past its little like suffering stage, I can swap that emitter out for a 1/2 gallon per hour emitter, and it might be a lot happier. So it's something like, once you set up drip, it's not an end all. It doesn't fix all of your watering problems. You still have to keep your eye on stuff and make sure that you know, everything staying healthy. In the containers, I'm gonna be putting 1/2 gallon per hour emitters. So in this container, I'll be putting a cross coupler, and that way I can spider off and do 3 emitters. I'll be doing 2 emitters in those 2 pots because they're not as big. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill these up with soil first. Half gallon an hour emitter. All done. You can see in this one I put a T in and then kind of went off 2 directions there. Now these are just placed kind of willy-nilly. When I get all the plants in there, I'll be able to place them a little bit better. And then here again another T where I split off 2 ways. And then right here, I did a cross so I could go 3 directions, and then I have them in kind of thirds here. So that one will take care of this part of the pot, this part, and this part. So when you're working on drip, if you're doing a lot of it, this is like a lifesaver. Aaron set this up for me. You can get this organizer, I think at Home Depot. But he put in T's, straight couplers, elbows, there's little enders there. And then there's little 1/4 inch couplers, all different kinds. This is where I usually keep my stakes. I had a little spill here with my emitters. I need to get in here and reorganize. And then I usually have landscape staples in this, but I'm out right now. And then he labeled all of the gallon per hour emitters so that it was easy for me to figure out what I needed. It's the little things that make gardening so much more pleasurable when you have the right tools or you're set up correctly. It just makes life so much smoother, and then you don't get frustrated because you're not you know, in your garage looking for parts and all that business. So now let's do the fun part. Let me show you some of the plants I brought home, and I've got a few in the greenhouse I might go grab as well. So here we go. Russell's been playing in the plants. So let me put these back up right. First off, we've got little Becca Sunflowers. Look at how pretty those are. So I want to see if this says how big they get. It's a dwarf sunflower. So I'm going to be using this as a centerpiece, probably in the bigger pot. But the blooms, 5 to 6 inches, copper red blooms with yellow halos. So pretty and so late summer. I've got a bunch of apple brandy, Colorblaze, apple brandy, Coleus. Look at that. Now look at that together. So pretty. And the Colorblaze series, you guys, they can handle quite a bit of sun. This area right here is shade. This in the afternoon is sun, so I have to keep that in mind. I did grab 1 diamond frost Euphorbia. There's some really pretty grasses here. These are called Amazon Mist Carex. Focus, there we go. Look at how pretty that is. I think that that's actually a really pretty look too. I got 1 Dusty Miller because I love the icy blue. Look at those 3. There is a Geranium here. Geranium, Fancy Leaf, Vancouver Centennial. Look at how gorgeous that is. There's a Helichrysum, and this one is a lemon licorice plant. So a little bit of a different color. They come in that really pretty icy blue as well. I've got a Tricolor Sage. Love to use these in late summer, fall containers. I've got some Beedance here. I really liked that. This is called Beedance, Painted Red. And then Asclepias. So this is a, let's see, Hello Yellow Asclepias. So that one will have really pretty yellow blooms, and that one will attract butterflies like crazy. Russell, what are you doing? You're messing up all my soil. You are so cute. Look at those thumbs. So I really just want these pots to look like a jumble, like kind of a cottagey, fun, summer into fall look. You can tell based on the colors that I chose. I did some red in the foliage. The sunflowers, of course, are very country, cottagey looking. Anyway, I just wanted to have fun. I don't want to stick to a certain like color palette or style or whatever. I just wanted this to be just kind of haphazard almost looking. I love to see haphazard stuff in gardens. So anyway, I'm gonna start to plant. I'm gonna start with this big one first. I don't know how the audio is gonna be from this far away because I'm not wearing an actual mic this morning. But I decided to do 3 of these in the pot as a centerpiece instead of just 1, because 1 would look too scant. So I'm gonna just smash these in here, and I'm kind of just smashing up the root ball, which the roots are pretty resilient. You don't wanna rip them up too much, but I wanna make them fit. So I'm gonna go in with some of this apple brandy Coleus next, and I'm gonna kind of ring it around, and I may not need anything else in this container. So I think I really like the Helichrysum, but I only have 1 of them, so I'm hoping that I can go down to the garden center and pick up more. And maybe do like 3 bounced in between a few of these Coleus just to kind of complete it and give it a little bit of a spiller. But I think that's it, because of course, you know, these sunflowers are gonna fill in and keep on blooming up there, so we don't really need anything else in this container. But I was just loving this combination right here, so I think I'm gonna work some of these grasses into this lower container. So I think that these 2 work really well with each other. So now I just have the little one to do. So this is a great example of a plant that I will actually break the root system up on, because you can see it's formed to the pot and it just needs a little help just to break that up so it doesn't keep growing in that same kind of direction. So just kind of do that right there. So a close-up look of it right there. So something like, let's take a look at this root system. This one is actually not super root bound, so you can still see a lot of soil in there. I mean, you can give it a light fluff if you want, but it's not as necessary as I used to think it was anyway. I've learned that from some of the professional growers out there. Kind of interesting. This is a Sweet Caroline Bewitched After Midnight. I grabbed that out of the greenhouse as well. So that turned out to be a really beautiful jumble of plants, don't you think? I think it's just so fun, and it kind of is distracting, isn't it? Like, I don't really see, I mean, I see the hole over there, the big massive hole that the pond left, but to have something really nice and pretty to look at here sure helps. So you can see the drip tubing right now because I don't have any mulch on hand, but you know, I'll give you a glimpse down in there. You can see where I kind of spidered off of it in 4 different directions, 3 to the pots and 1 to the boxwood. The only plants that I used that I didn't have here initially was this potato vine. Let's see, what else did I grab? The Dichondra, the purple fountain grass, and then I decided on this big pot just to go with what I had on hand instead of going and getting more of those, which I actually think it turned out really pretty anyway. But I have this Artemisia silver bullet right there that looks really good and nice and contrasty to everything. And then I have this Euphorbia as well. So that is it for this project, you guys. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope that you enjoyed seeing it come together and kind of seeing the whole process. You know, the drip is such an important step to having lots of containers. We have lots of containers here, and I couldn't do it by hand every single day. I still water like an hour, hour and a half every single day, but it beats last year. I was watering like 2 to 3 hours every single day, and we just don't have that kind of time anymore. So if we can get all of our stuff hooked up on drip and just like have to walk by it once a day and make sure it's being watered still, and like there hasn't been a blown emitter or whatever, it just makes life so much easier. So anyway, that's the process I go through now when I'm putting pots together. I always make sure we've got water first, and then you know, of course you want to make sure all your plants are compatible. Everything in here will take the afternoon sun, including the Coleus. That's something I've learned in the past few years. I started using the Colorblaze series, and I just didn't realize that they could take as much sun as they do. And here the sun is pretty brutal, so that's kind of amazing that they can handle it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me this morning. I'm gonna go get everything watered before the heat sets in. So we'll see you in the next video. Bye.